Listen to an excerpt from Drop the Ball, Achieving More by Doing Less, by Tiffany Dufu.
Introduction. I used to be the queen of domesticity, a good housekeeping cover model in the making. I was also an ambitious professional. These two identities had always been on a collision course, but I was oblivious to that fact until after the crash. 8 years into my marriage and 6 months after giving birth to my first child, I started a new job, fully expecting to be the powerhouse, perfect working wife and mother who had it all and did it all. I was joyfully wedded to my college sweetheart. We had a beautiful baby boy, and we were committed to changing the world together. I knew that juggling the demands of a growing family, reaching the highest levels in my career, and supporting my husband as he climbed his own professional ladder wouldn't always be easy, but we were ready. Many women find it difficult to leave their infants on that first day back from maternity leave, but I was not one of them. I loved my work. I have always been a passionate advocate for the empowerment and advancement of women and girls, and I had been offered my dream job directing the fundraising efforts of the National Women's Leadership Organization. I would be doing work I cared about while learning from a pioneer in the women's movement, Marie Wilson, co-creator of Take Our Daughters to Work Day and former president of the Ms. Foundation for Women. On top of all that, the salary was enough to allow me the peace of mind that comes with leaving a child in the hands of a skilled and loving caregiver, a privilege too many working mothers cannot afford, and I had negotiated for a private room where I could pump breast milk. My maternity leave came to an end, and I joyfully prepared to go to work. I had grown up being told I could do anything I put my mind to. And as I got dressed that first morning back, I couldn't imagine I'd have to compromise on anything: career, marriage, raising a family, keeping our home life running smoothly while advancing the cause of women and girls. I left my apartment confident I would be successful doing it all. That illusion lasted 6 hours. My first day back at work was a whirlwind. I was so consumed with getting up to speed and running from meeting to meeting that by the time I realized I'd forgotten to pump, my breasts were engorged. With each passing minute, they became more swollen and painful. Milk started leaking through my blouse onto my suit jacket. To add insult to injury, the private room I had negotiated turned out to be a bathroom stall. Having no experience with engorged breasts, I tried to pump, but the machine suction couldn't latch on to what now appeared to be 2 throbbing bowling balls on my chest. To relieve myself, I applied warm paper towels and tried expressing the milk by hand. That worked, but it meant I couldn't hold the empty bottle, and the good Lord didn't exactly design women's breasts so they would be easy to aim. There I was, kneeling on the floor of a bathroom stall, in my drenched silk blouse and designer suit, emptying my baby's milk into the toilet. Tears were streaming down my face as the milk streamed from my body. My breasts had exploded, and my vision of a future in which I gracefully managed both career and home had been obliterated. On the suffocating train ride home from Wall Street to 125th Street in Harlem, the reality of my new circumstances began to sink in. If I was too consumed at the office to remember to do something as essential as pump milk for my baby, what else was going to fall through the cracks? When would I sort the pile of mail or pay the bills? How was I going to keep up with the laundry and the cooking? When would I have time to go to the grocery store? My floors were going to turn into a health hazard as soon as my son started crawling. How would I keep them pristine? I had missed 2 emails from the caregiver while I was in meetings. How would I make sure her questions were answered promptly? What would I do about getting the car inspected? Would my book club ever see me again? Would I ever read another book? When would I buy all the Christmas gifts for my family and friends? How would I have time for family and friends? How would I have time for me? All of a sudden, the idea of scaling the professional ladder, being strong and vibrant and making a difference in the world, all while nurturing a wonderful marriage and raising a healthy and happy child, went from inevitable to overwhelming. My sorority sisters used to call me Trapper Keeper because I was so well organized. But now, when I looked at my situation, I felt trapped by competing demands. I wanted to be the perfect working mom, not a milk-soaked, stressed-out mess. But there was no way I could organize my way out of this. Something would have to give. I knew that many women solved this dilemma by simply outsourcing their domestic responsibilities. There is a robust supply of professionals, mostly other women, who can be hired to do everything from cooking to cleaning to carpooling. But this is largely the solution for women who can afford an in-home staff. Women at senior levels who earn big salaries or are married to men who earn them. That wasn't my husband and me. We were making just enough money to cover our living expenses, childcare, retirement, and student loans, with occasional support to members of our extended family. How was all of this going to get done? The enormity of the challenge reduced me to tears. I was still sniffling in bed at 10 p.m. when my husband got home. It was early for him, as he regularly pulled all-nighters at the bank where he worked. I listened to him kick off his shoes and leave them in the hallway instead of putting them in the closet. I knew the exact moment he was hanging his jacket because I could hear the rustle of the dry cleaning bag I had picked up for him on my way home. He headed straight for the fridge for the dinner he knew would be waiting there. After he'd eaten, I heard the familiar clatter of his plate and cutlery being placed in the kitchen sink instead of the dishwasher. Then a thud, his body hitting the blue couch. I had seen him in this position countless times. His right hand would be resting lazily on his thigh as he used his thumb to awaken the remote. As I heard the TV click with the usual drumbeat of ESPN highlights, a tinge of resentment tickled my toes. By the time it reached my knees, it had become jealousy, which turned to anger inside my stomach. By the time the anger crawled up my chest, it was full-blown rage. Clearly, he and I were on the same highway, but somehow he had managed to detour around the crash scene. I was his solution to having it all. What would be mine?